Hi guys, it's me, Kat. This is Handy Are You? Hope you're all doing really well. I have some information that I think you might be interested in on the Maine shooting. Now, I live right on the border of Maine in New Hampshire. I could walk right across the border. And I grew up in Maine. And Maine is a very small state, population-wise. So when that happened, it affected a lot of people, like, because it wasn't like, oh, there's a big city and something happened over there in a big city. Like, you'd say, oh, Chicago, this happened. Maine is like very connected. Everybody feels like they almost know each other. There's not very many big cities at all. And Lewiston, from what I was reading, is the second biggest city, which is hard to believe because Lewiston is not very big. And anyway, so I want to let you know, now this will help you to find out how to spot when fake things are happening, the white hat fake things. Because what they're trying to do is subconsciously get people to pay attention to what's going on. And even if they don't understand it, subliminally, they will. All these numbers are getting into their heads. And, there's a lot of 18s and 17s and 15s and things like that. And after a while, whenever this final climax comes for the white hats to bring everybody on board, I think your DNA is going to flip, and all of a sudden you'll get everything and all these things that have been entering into your mind that some people will say, oh, that's so negative, but it will end up being like, oh my gosh, I get it. I understand. And I really think it's because your DNA will be elevated and all the junk DNA won't be junk, and that's why all of our guys that I'm always talking about, like Diana and John Joe Jr. and President Kennedy and Jackie, President Trump, all their DNA is going 100 miles an hour or faster, and all of theirs is working. So I think we're supposed to be just like that. Like they know what we're thinking, they know what we're going to do, they know what happened in the past, they know what's going to happen in the future. All that. And I think that's how we're going to be. And we'll make such better decisions. We'll love each other all the time, I mean, you're not going to let yourself, your brain go, oh, well, I don't like that person. I like what she's wearing or something like that, because they're going to know what you're thinking. So you can't do that, Anyway, so here we go. So this was from just a bunch of different articles online about the Maine shooting at a bowling alley and a restaurant. And I didn't work on one whole article because that was kind of repetitive. But anyway, so I can't tell you exactly the titles. But if you look up Maine shooting in Lewiston, or, and it happened on, what was the date here? The 25th, October 25th. And the articles are always being updated anyway, so they keep changing. So you have 10, right, from October. So you have 1, you drop the 0, then you have 25, and add those together, and you've got 7, so that's a 1-7 for Q, right? So a white hat operation, it was like, you can look at it like 17. You also have a 25 in the center, and then you've got a 23, you add the 23 together, 2, 3, you've got another 5, so then you have a 2, 5, 5, and 55 is JFK JR, and it's Lady Di. So it's like they sign it, Okay, so law enforcement descend on suspected mass shooters. Let's start it again. Law enforcement descend on suspected mass shooters' Maine home as manhunt intensifies. Okay, and here's a phrase, crush of law enforcement, that was highlighted. Either they were in quotes or they were underlined. Crush of law enforcement, that was in simple gematria, which is A equals 1 through Z equals 26, and I use gematrix.org, and you enter your phrase or your word or your capital letters from a paragraph or a letter, and you listen to what the Lord or whoever you think it is telling you to pay attention to. And in a different day, it could be something different. So anyway, crush of law enforcement. It equals never ever give up, right? So I thought that was hysterical because they use a lot of humor in these to get you to pay attention. Never ever give up. And that's something President Trump has said. You know the truth. Never ever a dull moment matches. That's really bullshit matches. I thought that was so funny. So don't give up, and this is stupid, and all this stuff. So that's from Crush of Law Enforcement. Another article names Robert Card, C-A-R-D, kind of like Trump card. Anyway, so Robert Card in simple is 104. It equals scripts, like script of a movie. Grateful Dead, April Fools. And in Jewish, it's 405, and it equals Dr. Death. So that's for the accused shooter. That's what it equaled, okay, his name. And he was 40 years old. So in simple, it's 84. It equals fake news, 55. So we have 55, just like in the date. JFK, JR, and Lady Di, Diana. And there was 18 dead, and 18 is R. And I still think that it's everybody, all the witnesses are a 9. And because that's the most high number, 9. And so I think out of the 4, you've got 4 9s, and they're 2 different couples, and I think each one is an 18. You take the man and the woman. Well, you can look at it as the twins, because Jackie and Diana are twins. You can look at them that way too, and that's an 18. And what am I trying to say? And John and John Joe Jr., as I call him, Jr., JFK, JR, and President Kennedy are twins. And you could look at that as the 2 R's. I mean, it gets so confusing. 2 9s, which equal 18, which is an R. So 18 dead, so 18's a big deal. 13 injured, cabal number. Let's see. And it was 36 miles north of Portland. And 36 equals false flag events. Yeah. So I thought I had said that, but I hadn't. 36. And 36 also equals, in simple, decode, you are safe, and don't worry. So all that is from 36. Lisbon residents are asked to continue sheltering in place overnight as manhunt for suspected gunmen continues. Well, sheltering in place is from the CV stuff from a couple years ago, and I knew that phrase was going to be used again. All those phrases were white hat phrases, and all that, sheltering in place, and I don't know. I can't think of any more phrases from the COVID, that stuff, but there was a ton of them. Let's see. Bowling alley manager identified as one of the Lewiston mass shootings, because that's supposedly where most of this happened, was in Lewiston, Maine. And they said victim Tommy Conrad is an actor, or undercover, is S simple 141, and it equals reincarnation, false prophet, and it equals me, Mrs. Handy, are you? But I'm not a false prophet. I don't think I'm a prophet at all. So anyway, and it equals fuels for a fire. And to me, that might be what they are calling for gun control yet again. So that could be, besides President Trump looking like he's DOA, and not really, that could be another reason that it looks like a Civilwar. Um, all just like a movie, though, like they've done all these scenes and they've got it all ready to show us. Let's see. So Lewiston equals Jewish Gematria 1214. And remember the guy's name was Robert Card? Okay. So Lewiston equals Cards Against Humanity, like that game that's kind of out there kind of card game. I thought that was hysterical. Cards Against Humanity. That was a great one. Let's see. And they also highlighted in an article sheltering in place. So like I said, but it's in Jewish, it's 502. It equals ghost gun, like not, there wasn't really a gun. Let's see. Lisbon, Maine, and simple is 113. This is it. And dishonest, be not deceived, and secret plan. I mean, it's really obvious when you work on these things. Like if you look at something that happened in your town or your area, and even little things are usually fake. I think just about everything we're seeing or have been seeing in the past is fake. I think that's what we're going to be led, we'll find that out at some point. That, the policemen will have to come out, and the firemen and emergency people will have to come out and go, yeah, like everything we've been putting on the news, and the news people will have to come out and say, yeah, well, that was all fake. And that's usually why there's Masons in all the, the police station and probably the fire department, although I don't know that, because they're controllable and they have to do what they're told. Let's see. Okay. I did Lisbon, Maine, be not deceived, and secret plan. Bowling alley manager in Jewish is 1638. It equals live and let live, like alive. And a murder, she wrote. And that's an old TV show. And a lot of you probably remember it. It was with Angela Lansbury. And it was a TV show that was on for a few years, and it was set on the coast of Maine. So it's so funny. The bowling alley manager matches a murder, she wrote. Let's see. And just doing the town of Lisbon is in Jewish 211 equals all planned. In simple, it equals 71. It's target, unreal, act of God, like it's an act, and 71, Lady Diana. And to me, that's like they used that town name because it's like she's signing it, that she had something to do with all the, maybe the acting or the writing or whatever, or an idea about this FF. Maine is simple, and it's 42 equals a joke. Mr. K, and there's two Mr. Ks, two Mr. Kennedys. We have, as I call JFK Jr., I call him John Joe Jr., so I say that a lot. And because he was Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr. in another life, and then he was reborn as our JFK Jr. So there's two Mr. Ks, two Johns. And that's, when they say John, they're not talking about, well, I know a lot of people reference young John F. Kennedy as John, but really, and he said he never liked that name. And that's because it's supposed to be for President Kennedy is a John, and he is a John. So when you see two Johns, you just think of the two of them, not like John, the little boy. Let's see. Maine Public Safety Officer Mike Sauschuk. What a name. And a lot of times, the cabal did this, and now the white hats are doing it. They use names that are hard to say, hard to remember, hard to write, And so you just kind of, because if you ever wanted to look it up, you go, I don't know, there was some name. It was like Sauce Chuck. Um, anyway, and well, Mike is not difficult, but his last name is. But Mike is 38 and simple, and it's death. So that's kind of funny because it's a Maine public safety officer that's made up. Sauce Chuck is simple 106, and it's stay home, hidden enemy. And this post came up from the public safety officer, and they received their 911 calls starting at 7:08, and 87, reverse it, is Kennedy. So the restaurant is a tough one too. I mean, that name was hard, but this restaurant is really hard. It's SCHEMENGEES Bar and Grill, okay? Shemenges Bar and Grill. And grill has an E on it. Shemenges is Jewish, it's 285, and it equals eternal lie, and it equals, in simple, snipers. So then I did the whole thing. Shemenges Bar and Grill, and it's in Jewish 554, and it equals reincarnation of life. So they probably look like they died, and they got up and they walked away at some point. Let's see. And the hospitals have to be in on it. There's so many things that it takes to coordinate this stuff, but they been doing it forever with the cabal. You know, I mean, it's just that mind-blowing, isn't it? Let's see. And the whole name of this bar and grill in simple is 203 equals October surprise, because that's when it happened. And then at the bowling alley, 7 men were inside and shot and 1 outside. So you have the 7 and the 1, and that makes 17 for Q and 71 for Lady Diana. And in the article, the Lewiston police posted some of this at 10:52, and there was a post, and you take 1 from the 10, and 5 plus 2 is 7, so you have a 17 again. They showed a photo of a vehicle that was that they found that was abandoned, that was supposedly this Mike's, property. His vehicle was a Subaru Outback with a black bumper. They made sure to say that. A Subaru is simple 82. This is a code. It matches. In Jewish, it's 573. Take blinders off and see. And you put Subaru Outback together. You have Jewish 939, and it's alive, not dead. U.S. military. This is I stapled over my information. That wasn't smart. Black bumper is, let's see, black bumper is, did I do it? Black is simple 29, and that's Diana. Bumper is Princess and Sam Hyde. And if you're on the internet during all these FFs that happen, or school, SHOOTING, they always say that there'll be somebody that says, yeah, I know who it was Sam Hyde. It's HYDE, and that's because it's a joke. It's an internet joke, or a meme, or whatever. Let's see. Black bumper equals double meaning, shock and awe. It equals Robert Card. That's why they picked black bumper on the Subaru Outback. It equals the guy's name, Robert Card. So funny. Let's see. This Maine hospital or hospitals treated victims, and there was a Reuters article by Gabriella Borter, Borter, and Brad Brooks. A lot of B's. Gabriella Borter is simple 145, and it equals John F. Kennedy. So I think they're involved a lot in writing these stories and updating things online. Brad Brooks is Jewish 369, and it equals actress. And in another, and well, I think it was the same article, but this phrase was highlighted. Treated shooting victims is Jewish 159, and it equals sorry, not sorry. Q military code frequency, the key to unlock reality. And there was a hospital worker, and they talked about how he had to get called in to the emergency. Dr. Richard King was driving home, and victims were flooding the hospital. So it makes me think of Dr. Martin Luther King, you know, it just does. And I saw him one time at a Trump rally in Manchester a few years ago. I don't remember what year. And he was standing behind, it was in Manchester, New Hampshire, and he was standing, as you're looking at the TV screen, he was on the right side of the TV screen and up a little bit from President Trump. And he had black braids, dreadlocks, and big round glasses. And he looks kind of scared and everything. He smiled eventually, but was standing there. He was like the only black person in the whole place. And anyway, so I saw him again recently in New Hampshire, and he was, when was it? I think it was when he was in Wyndham. And if you look at the beginning of the RSBN video, which is on Rumble, and it's Wyndham, Windham, and you'll see President Trump coming in, and he stops briefly by Martin Luther King, and he's got the dreadlocks on, different glasses, I think, but it was definitely him, and said something, and then stood there for a second, and then he kept going onto the stage. So he's there again. Anyway, so Dr. Richard King equals Jewish Gematria 335, and it equals what President Trump says all the time: make America safe again. And it equals The Walking Dead, because they're walking, they're not dead. And King equals, in Jewish, 66, and it equals fake 3 times, like fake, fake, fake. So there's no Dr. Richard King called in to this emergency. And in simple, King is in 41 equals joke. So that was pretty good, huh? So hopefully you can get something out of that, and you can just go, oh my gosh, this thing that happened that everybody's talking about is fake. Now, I try to talk to people about, you know, what I think is real and not real, but there's people that just are not very receptive, so it's better to just kind of size them up ahead of time, or give them or ask a couple of questions like, isn't it weird how you see the number 17 all the time in these things that are happening? Or isn't that weird how that guy's name is like almost all vowels and you can't say it? Isn't that weird that happens a lot in the newspaper? Just little things like that. So that's that. And what else can I tell you? Oh, and that thing with the I'm always talking lately about the Julian calendar. So Mr. C talked about the Julian calendar. He didn't talk about the Julian calendar. He, on Original Mark Z, when he comes on to talk about the RV and the reset, and he talks about the gold treaty, is how he puts it. And he mentioned a book that he recommended, and it was by Julian Benda. Okay? And you're saying, I just got the book and it's fantastic and it's surprising. Well, Julian, they showed it on the screen, and it's Julien. So it's not spelled the same as the Julian calendar, but that is definitely a double meaning, to look at the Julian calendar for dates that are coming up. Yeah. And I can't remember what Julian Benda worked out to. Did I do that one? I'm not sure. Sorry, dead air, not good. So many pages. Well, I did a whole decode on this, but I also had something he mentioned called he mentioned Ajax, like it was an op that was going on in the old days, and Ajax equals feet, and that's like foot comms to me for Jackie and Diana. I thought that was really fun, and yeah, let's see. He talked about the fake war. Original Mark Z had a couple of weeks ago, he had a new character on, kind of a shadowy character, and he was talking about saving children, and that's what he does. But it was probably Jackie or Diana, I don't know which one, and his character name was Fernando, and that's somebody who Jennifer talks to. She'll pretend to talk to a Fernando on the phone, you know, as Jennifer Mack. Let's see. Oh, and he's talking, Mr. C in this episode was talking about, he's talking about Hitler was in jail about 1.5 years, and he talked about they were reducing their food, and you'd have to pay so many marks for a loaf of bread. And I think that's a reference to President Trump, and then the shelves are empty. You know, President Trump is locked up or gone, and the food his food looks gone. And then he said 67 at one point, right after that, and it equals I doing the body swap, because I think he was Jackie in this episode. This was on the 20th of October, and if you want to look it up and see it and listen to it, it's Original Mark Z, and I thought he was on Thursdays. It sounds like it's gone to Fridays, and at about 10:15 he comes on, and he said 67, and it equals 162 simple, and its shelves are cleared. So he's got a reference to that, and it equals markets plunge, NSA threat alert, goodbye forever. So it sounded like he was talking about next month, you know, which is now November, but or a year from now, you know. And he mentioned we had some really, really raw times with all the members of my family. I think he's talking about the Garden of Eden when they ate the children. I really think he's talking about that. Killed them and sacrificed them because they were following the devil. I really do. And that's why all this crap is going on all around us. So, yeah, and he mentioned near the end Margaritaville. That was a big comm. And it equals Trump, DIED, in helicopter crash. Well, that's not how it's going to look, I don't think, but that's just the beginning part of the phrase is the important part. 6 o'clock can be dangerous matches, which is a Q post, and that's in Jewish, and in simple gematria, it's 148. Margaritaville equals Donald J. Trump. Simple gematria, which is mostly what I use. Nuclear weapon, and the only way. So it's just like the only way they're going to get through to people is have them be scared to death and wake up, and then they'll find out it's not real. So I guess that's it for that. So hope you enjoyed it. I hope this helped you learn how to look for fake things, which I really think most of the news we hear, even your local news, and things, online articles, things that you hear about are fake. And it's just amazing to me. But yeah, so that's that. So should I do that? I can't decide if I should do this part. Oh, and Jennifer Mack, speaking of Jennifer Mack, I looked up all about the papal bull, which is the name of the declaration for switching from the Julian calendar, which was named for Julius Caesar, to the Gregorian calendar, which was named for Pope Gregory the 13th, of course, 13. And let's see, And the Halloween, like, say this year, would be November 13th on the old Julian calendar. But the papal bull that the Pope issued was in 1582. So the switch happened in 1582. And an interesting thing is that it's called a papal bull, and Jennifer Mack has the Magador artwork that she did on the computer, and you know, there's that yellow jacket that has President Trump. It's very stylized drawing of President Trump with an American flag, and he's taunting the bull, and that's why they call it Magador. And there's all this art. You can buy a big poster. You could even go on her website, thejennifermack.com, and you could buy her signed poster. There's only a couple left, but they've got jackets that she and Juan signed, which I think are going to be huge collector items. There's probably only 5 left, or maybe less, as of last night. What else does she have that's interesting? She has silver coins that have that same Magador on it, and like Never Ever Give Up, the mugshot on the back of the silver coin. And it comes with a great big Magador flag that you can hang up, a 3x5. And there's mugs, you know, with the mugshot on it, with President Trump's mugshot. I think it was Diana that time in the mugshot. But anyway, so the papal bull, really think that Jennifer Mack and Juan or Diana are all referring to the Julian calendar, because we're supposed to be going by the Julian calendar, not this fake Pope Gregory one that we're using now. So everything changes if we went back to that, everything, you know, and that's where the 10 days disappeared, you know, in October. 10 days disappeared when the Pope had everybody switch to the Gregorian calendar. So we just made it so that, oh, those days don't count. We're just skipping from this date to this date, and be happy. And in the U.S., Canada, and the UK didn't start it till 1752, and because we were not we weren't like Catholic countries like all the other ones. We were more Protestant countries. And let's see, September only had 19 days too, which is interesting. And there's that Steely Dan song called Hey 19. I love that song. And the singer from Steely Dan, I can't remember your name. I can't remember your name. Walter Becker. I got it. Walter Becker. He isn't dead like everybody thinks. He's alive in a Clouseau video. And, you know, he sings in Hey 19 and all those other songs that are so great. So anyway, so I think we should be really looking at the Julian calendar for certain dates. I really do. So anyway. Oh, and then they mentioned Ides of October in this papal bull. And that's the 15th. So every time you get to the 15th of a month, it sounds like they're called Ides. I thought there was just Ides of March, you know, around there, getting near, you know, St. Patrick's Day, the 17th. But I knew that Ides of March was like around the 15th. But Ides of October, so that's really interesting. So that was mentioned in the bull, the papal bull. Yeah, and it was called, this papal bull was called Intergravismas, and so I put the name of the bull in Gematrix.org, and it came out: a level playing field, gone in 60 seconds. And in simple, it equaled my fellow Americans, blackout necessary, war preparations, sweet surrender, reconstruction. So I thought, you know, that's like going through the bad stuff and then coming out the other end and it's over. So, yeah, the 15th would celebrate martyred saints. That's what it was. But Ides of October is no worries. Now is the end. Resurrected and great awakening. Yeah. Oh, and I tried mugshot in October. And, you know, now by the time you see this, it won't be October, but I thought I'd try it. And mugshot in October, it equals the Big Bang Theory, and this is the day, and the final countdown. I just thought that was interesting. Now I probably should try, you know, in November, but so I did the MAINE FF with 18 dead. I told you about Mr. C, and that book, Julian with different spelling, and that I think he was definitely Jackie on 10/20. I told you about the Papal Bull and Jennifer Mack with bull artwork. So I think I did quite a bit for this one. So I hope you enjoyed it. And I love you guys. Take care of each other. I will see you soon. Bye.